I'm Joseph.
And I'm Nick.
And this is Fish Jelly. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Sleepy. We normally record Sunday during the day, but it's Saturday night after 9 p.m.,
Yeah.
which is late for me.
Yeah, it's hard for you.
We're doing that because I leave for a cruise tomorrow morning. So I have a number of things I need to get done.
As I said, it's hard for you.
Yeah. But it's been a busy week. My birthday was on Monday.
Yes.
Your family visited, so that was nice.
Yep. Had a dinner. You got 2 homemade cakes.
I got 2 cakes. So Nick made me a lemon raspberry cake. So lemon cake with raspberry cream cheese frosting.
Per your request, yes.
And Nick's sister made me a salted caramel chocolate cake, which was very good as well. The frosting was like butter. It was buttercream, right?
I'm not sure, but
It was like a salted,
it was salted caramel dribbled on top of the
and then there was caramel drizzled on top.
homemade,
Yeah, that was really good. So
which I just had some of the last spoonfuls of.
I had lost about 10 pounds before they arrived, and I certainly gained them all back while they were here for 4 days.
Oh, boy.
So, but it was lovely. But that's it.
Yeah.
Just busy, and we did record one. There will be 2 videos that drop this coming week while I'm gone, and then we're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
So things just keep on rolling. Moving on to RuPaul's Drag Race UK Series 3, Episode 6.
Series 3.
I think in the UK they call them series, not
Oh.
seasons.
Okay. Oh, look at you.
Yeah. This episode was the Snatch Game, which is everyone's favorite, except for foreign markets because I never know who these people are.
I didn't know who many of the people are.
I only knew one, I think.
Well, Nigella.
Nigella Lawson. The rest I had no clue.
Wait, wasn't there somebody? No, I
I
guess
don't
not.
think so. I know Gemma Collins
Oh, sure.
was someone who's been done before, but I don't know who that is.
From the reality
no,
TV
Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin is one of the Snatch Game
Yeah.
contestants.
That was hard.
This episode was interesting because last episode RuPaul didn't name a challenge winner and then blamed it on herself, saying that she didn't provide them with enough guidance. So this episode, RuPaul spent a lot of time in the workroom advising everyone on what she thinks would be better for them,
Which was bizarre.
which was bizarre. But it was because of her input. Scarlet Harlot decided to do Macaulay Culkin because RuPaul thinks he looks like Macaulay Culkin. But it's like there's only really one reference for Macaulay Culkin, and it's the first Home Alone when he puts the aftershave on his face and is like...
That you mean there's only one reference he engages in?
I think there's only one reference when you think about Macaulay Culkin, and it's Home Alone. Like, that's it. I like Macaulay Culkin, and he's had a great career. But, I mean, in modern times, I know he does, like, the Happy Socks or something thing.
Well, yeah, there was something.
And then
with
Party Monster.
Party Monster and Saved and
Like, him in a wheelchair. So I think there could... But then because Scarlett did it on a whim, like, at the last minute, he wasn't super prepared. He did okay, though.
But you can tell he's done Macaulay as a child because he had that whole thing memorized.
He had all of Home Alone memorized. So it worked well enough. I thought it was kind of grating. And then Ella Day switched his character to be Nigella Lawson. And he won.
and was pretty.
And I
damn
thought
good.
he was definitely top 5, like, best Snatch Game.
Yeah, it was really good.
Because he had a very measured approach. Like, because Nigella is very... Like, her rhythm is...
Well, when you're sexy, you can be a little slower.
Right. And he did such a good job. Especially because I don't think in drag, Ella Day is very sexy. So I thought it was interesting to see him do Nigella and actually be very sexy. Because as his normal drag persona, he seems kind of like... Because he's kind of like a butch, he's not butch, but he's like a muscular guy. And he is good looking.
I think he paints older.
But yeah, the way he paints and then his drag, it reads older and not very sexy.
But
So
I think Bob the drag queen referred to him as the rosé, but I think he's more interesting than rosé because he seems authentic.
I think he has more personality
Yeah.
than Rose. But I was super impressed. In the bottom were Theresa May, who Rue said like, "Oh, this character you're doing, I feel like you could do someone else." And the other was like someone. It was someone not.
Cher.
It was Cher. Rue was like, "You should do Cher because like everything you say will be funny as Cher," but he chooses to do some other person.
Margarita Prakatan.
And River Medway. River Medway did
And a person from the same series as
Gemma Collins.
Yeah.
And he was just flat. I don't think he was bad. He was
wasn't
just
bad.
kind of boring.
Well, because somebody else was not good. Oh, who was Crystal?
Crystal Versace
Was a character.
Was a character of
Cindy the
shop, like she works in a thrift shop.
Yeah.
But Graham Norton made a good point that doing someone else's character is really hard because someone's already made that funny.
like Jerry Blank.
Right, it would be like someone trying to do Jerry Blank.
Yeah.
It's like, well, Amy Sedaris already killed Jerry Blank.
Yeah, but
so,
Bob did that. He did Uzo Adobo as Crazy Eyes.
But I think it takes a comedic talent or
Sure.
a really strong
Sure.
actor.
But yeah, I mean,
Because
so
Ben De La Creme did old girl from Harry Potter, right?
he's Maggie Smith, not McGonagall.
No, but isn't he playing Maggie Smith as her character from like another show?
No.
Oh, that's just Maggie
He's
Smith?
just doing Maggie Smith, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar with her, but
God.
yeah. Oh, and then of course Lulu was one of the judges. And I know Lulu because I'm such a huge AbFab
During
fan.
the ads, you thought it was Olivia Newton-John. I'm like, something happened.
I
That's
thought it was Olivia
Newton-John.
Newton-John. Well, this is why I don't like women of a particular age shouldn't wear bangs because
Sure.
it always feels like a cover up, and then it's like you're indistinguishable, especially when you get Botox and fillers and
Sure.
facelifts. It's like, well, you could be Patsy, Olivia Newton-John, Lulu. I don't know, but that was fun because Lulu has a strong personality.
Yes.
So she was giving critiques like she knew these bitches, which were kind of off the mark sometimes. But the bottom two, Teresa and River Medway, lip sync to Lulu's song "Shout," which is not a very impressive song.
It's not an impressive song, and I thought River Medway fit the vibe of the song, so I don't understand why there was a double elimination.
Yes, I totally forgot about that. Yeah, so I thought River Medway did a good job, and she totally looked like a 1950s, 60s, like, what do you call them with the poodle skirt? There's a name for that era of...
Doo-wop? No.
Is it? No, it's not doo-wop. But anyway, River definitely fit that. Because her hair, her outfit,
Yeah.
and then the moves she was doing,
I thought she was kind of cute. I thought
Yeah.
Teresa looked... Well,
out of place.
She tried to take off her hair, and the wig underneath it was
It
not
was just out of place.
doing what it needed to do, but...
Well, Roost and both of those bitches packing, I was surprised.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just Rue's attitude has been like, you've had drag queens doing things on your reality show for seasons and upon seasons of that's just crap, and like now you're deciding to have
Now you want to have... It's the inconsistency for me. That's just really like...
it's like now
This doesn't make...
warning.
Now, yeah, like, what is happening? Anyway, moving on to Canada's Drag Race. Man, I just don't like... I'm going to say it every time. Brooklyn Heights is just not getting better. Well, this episode, they had to do another, skit, and it was called Screech. I don't understand what it was about. I didn't understand the characters.
It was very long.
And it was by far the worst acting challenge that we've seen, and the longest. It felt like it went on forever.
It was very dull. It was very long. It was completely unremarkable in every possible conceivable way.
The characters the queens were given some of them were a take on some of the Drag Race judges.
It's like, who cares?
Who cares? But then the other ones weren't.
And then Amanda Brugel is directing it, and then she's all upset that the one playing her character from Handmaid's Tale hasn't watched Handmaid's Tale.
Why would I came onto RuPaul's Drag Race I'm not on, like, I'm not auditioning to be on Handmaid's Tale. Like, why would I have seen a show that has nothing to do with the show I'm competing on? And I didn't know you were going to be a judge. Like, what?
Or maybe they did, and it just doesn't matter. It just who
But it
cares?
doesn't matter. Anyway, I didn't understand the challenge. I thought everyone did it was just boring, super long. In the bottom are Stephanie Prince and Cynthia Kiss. I don't recall either of those people.
Cynthia Kiss was the one that had the Bruegel part. She's the one that can sing.
Oh, okay. And
She's
then
got that little blonde mullet.
one of the judges was Fifi Dobson, who one of the contestants refers to as like the original Rihanna.
Yeah. Well, because she started younger.
The bottom two lip sync to Fifi's song Ghost, which I did like. So the best part of this episode was me discovering Fifi Dobson, because I will look up her music.
Well, and then she gave this very emotional.
Which seems so egotistical, because she's crying after they lip sync her song, and it's like, are you just really happy watching some people interpret your music?
She seems like the type that has a lot of gay friends that she does a lot of hard drugs with. So I believe.
So kudos to her.
I believed the emotional.
She's an ally. No, but yeah, Canada's Drag Race. The hardest part is watching Brooklyn give these girls critiques. Like, you need to have more personality. You need to push yourself, and it's like, that was you on your season of Drag Race, and you still don't have a personality.
So Brad, is it Goreski? Goreski critiques the one playing the caricature of Brooklyn in the skit, Kendall Jenner, saying like, Brooklyn's got a big personality. That bitch does not have a big personality in any shape where she doesn't even come close to having a personality.
No.
Anyway, and then she has the gall, because the one who dressed up as Marie Antoinette in a really fun rendition of her, because the runway was Good Girl Gone Bad or whatever.
Yeah.
And she did a nice take on Let Them Have Cake. And Brooklyn had to ask her how she pronounces her name. We're in the 3rd episode. How are you asking how to pronounce my name?
Yeah, that was... So we can finally get it right. Is it Andrea or Andre? Like, bitch, 3 episodes and you need to ask me how to pronounce
and
my
only
name?
because you're going to give me the top prize.
Yeah.
So otherwise you wouldn't have asked me that? I'm not impressed.
No, not at all. Okay, moving on to movies of all sorts. There are a lot of them, so I'm assuming we're going to spend quite a bit of time on these.
No, I'll run right through them. Right through them.
Okay, films that were watched but not covered. First, we'll start with Sisters.
Oh, yes. Oh, this is going to be a very Isabella Johnny heavy podcast, so just keep in mind. This I watched and had to review for Ion Cinema. It stars Isabella Johnny and Mai Wen, and I forget the third actress's name. Brackney is her last name, who are sisters. They're French-Algerian, and they're undergoing all kinds of familial conflicts based on something to do with their brother that was abducted by their father 40-odd years ago. Hafsia Herzi also plays Isabella Johnny's daughter. It's a very interesting role, a film. It's the sophomore film from Yamina Benguigui, whose first film, narrative feature, she's done other stuff since then, but her first narrative feature was in 2001 called Inshallah Dimanche, which I remember being quite good. But if you're an Isabella Johnny fan, I think this is must-see. I think it's very interesting in how it talks about Algerian identity in France, and how kind of tenuous that is because of the history between French and Algerians coming out of the Algerian War. I find it interesting that Mai Wen is in the film, because she directed a movie last year called DNA that I thought was frankly quite terrible, except for one fantastic sequence with Fanny Ardant that is kind of mining a similar thing. But you didn't watch that, so we didn't cover it.
Next is The Souvenir Part 2.
Oh, I wish, I would have loved if we could have made time to cover this. I saw this in Cannes. I was a fan of the first Souvenir, and I like The Souvenir Part 2 even more, starring Tilda Swinton, and really her daughter, Honor Swinton-Byrne. That's kind of autobiographical on the part of Joanna Hogg, and it's just a fantastic film about love and drug addiction in filmmaking.
Next, The Spine of Night.
I didn't see this. I just want to shout it out. It sounded like a
Oh.
very interesting. Well, it's been a very busy week for me too. I wanted to cover this. It's an animated film that I wanted to get to, but we didn't.
Okay. Violet.
Justine Bateman directed a film starring Olivia Munn. Also didn't get to that,
Oh.
but it opened this week.
We're talking about films you haven't seen?
Yes, because at this point there was just so much going on this week because of things.
Okay.
Well,
I didn't realize we were doing that. Army of Thieves.
Well, I would assumed if we had time, you would have wanted to watch this. It's the prequel to Army of the Dead, the Zack Snyder zombie film.
Why would you think I'd want to see that?
Because I thought you liked the Zack Snyder film, because it's directed by...
I've seen Army of the Dead?
Yeah, it's with Dave Bautista in Las Vegas.
Didn't we review that?
Yes, this is the prequel to it that just came out on
Did
Friday.
I give it a good review?
I believe so. The
I don't think
The
so.
guy that directed it and who I believe is the lead is the character I thought you liked,
The German guy?
German.
Okay, I did like him.
Okay, so
But-
don't come at me like I'm crazy.
No, you like to think that because I say I like someone in a movie that like this supporting character that I would want to watch a movie this person directed.
Well, I don't know what else. Okay, I don't know. I don't know.
I didn't think Army of the Dead was a great movie.
No, I didn't either, and I also didn't make.
So the prequel does not appeal to me.
Oh, okay. Well,
But you watched
we didn't
it.
make. No, we didn't make time for it.
Oh,
I
again,
didn't have
okay.
time.
Okay. Well, then moving on to movies you watched that you didn't review. Days of the Animals.
This is like, well, we had family here.
Day of the Animals.
Day of the Animals. Yes.
I watched that?
You were in and out of the room. I
Oh.
know. William Girdler film. It's technically a sequel to Grizzly, which you did see, starring Christopher George. His wife is along on the ride for this one, Linda Day George. It's not a good movie. A William Girdler film that I find very fun, though, is The Manitou. Anyhow, this film, it was kind of taxing to sit through, but you do get Leslie Nielsen playing a terrible human being who does shout at Ruth Roman, "You Beverly Hills bitch." So there was that. Yeah.
Next is a movie called Wolf, which we watched because your mom bought this expensive, fancy new cat, and the cat's name is Pfeiffer. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, Michelle Pfeiffer, why did you name her that? Oh, because she's in a movie where she transforms into a werewolf, and she kind of looks like the cat kind of looks like that character. So we watched this movie starring Jack Nicholson and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Directed by Mike Nichols, 1994.
And I know I've seen this movie before. I probably saw it in the 90s.
Oh, it's huge. It was a big movie.
But we watched it. I didn't finish it, though.
No, you went to bed.
I went to bed.
Because you were tired.
But all I will say, since I did watch this one, is it's funny. I mean, Jack Nicholson has never looked fresh.
The last time he looked fresh was in the late 60s, yes.
He didn't look fresh. He just was younger. But I don't think he's ever looked like fresh and good. But it's funny to see him in the early 90s because his character is bit by a wolf and then transforms into a werewolf. So, of course, he has like heightened abilities and he feels better. So it's funny that they try to make him look, because he looks ragged and haggard. Like Jack Nicholson just looks bad. So then it's like him running. The best part of the film is Jack Nicholson running, because he's supposed to be kind of like on the prowl.
Yeah.
So he does this thing with his shoulders that I thought worked well, but it's just like, I think this movie could have used it. It would have been much more effective if they had a more attractive male lead who could sort of look like he is in his prime, like once he gets bit, and then also because there's sort of like a romance between he and
Michelle Pfeiffer.
But
you know,
and then it makes no sense because Michelle Pfeiffer's character comes from money and of course is gorgeous, and then we get the sense that she's only talking to Jack Nicholson's character initially to upset her father,
played by
who
Christopher
he
Plummer.
works for. But it's like a woman who looks like that, who is not desperate, it just makes no sense that she would take any interest in a man who looks like this character.
I agree, but I thought the same in '87 when he played the Satan, Daryl Van Horn, Witches of Eastwick, with Michelle Pfeiffer and Cher and Susan Sarandon and all these women.
Well, this is why I just like watching even in real life, when I see like like unappealing dudes like trying to like holler at women, like beautiful women, it's just so gross. I mean, in general, people being approached and catcalled and is not appropriate if it's unwanted, but it's really gross to me when it's just like, dude,
Sure.
under what circumstances would this lady want to be with you unless she were beyond desperate?
Sure. But
And that's how I feel seeing all these characters in movies, like these men who are just like, if you weren't a celebrity, that lady wouldn't look twice at you.
right. But so yeah, that doesn't make sense. And the narrative of Wolf upon her, I haven't seen it since the 90s, is pretty slim. And I don't know, even just watching it, Michelle Pfeiffer doesn't transform into a werewolf. So I think my parents are mistaken. They think their cat looks like what Dee Wallace turned into at the end of The Howling. I think that's what they think.
They named their cat. I mean, Pfeiffer's a good name.
Pfeiffer's a good name, and it is technically fitting because she does become a werewolf. We just don't see that actual transformation in Mike Nichols' film. There was something else I wanted to mention about that, though.
Well, I was going to say that I think, like you said, the story's slim, and I feel like the more interesting part of the story, what I was hoping for, because I didn't remember, was more focused on Jack's character sort of exacting revenge on the people who slept on him, because he's like a book agent or
a publisher.
and his what do you call it, protege sort of like
James Spader
underhands him or undermines him, and then gets the upper
and James
hand.
Spader is also having sex
Having
with his
an
wife,
affair with Jack's wife,
played by the great Kate Nelligan.
So I wish the film focused more on, now that Jack is like looking good and feeling gorgeous, that he kind of like got revenge on everyone. But instead we spend quite a bit of time with him and Michelle Pfeiffer. And even though I really like Michelle Pfeiffer, it just felt like there was nothing happening.
The best scene in that is when they're having PB&Js in her little cottage, and he tells her the what's what about her.
Oh yes, that is the best scene, when he tells her, like, the irony of being a beautiful woman who, I forget what he says, but he basically like tells her like,
you resent that everybody only wants you because you're beautiful, because they want to look past all your...
You resent that people don't want to know who you are as a person, but the only reason that they would look past your beauty is because you're beautiful.
Well, no, look past your kind of petulance and your brooding resentment. Like, because she's not a friendly
She's an awful person,
yeah.
so it's like the only reason people would tolerate your shitty personality to get to know who you are is because you're beautiful.
Yeah, so he's you're your own problem.
You're your own problem. Yeah, that was a really good scene. And of course, Jack Nicholson's a great actor. It's just, he just looks so crazy.
He does. It made me miss him because it's been, I think during the pandemic I watched Ironweed, but I haven't, he hasn't done a movie since 2010, so, which brings us to the next film. There were rumors that he was going to be in the American remake of Tony Erdmann.
Tony Erdmann, which I saw at a film festival?
No, I took you to a press screening in 2016 because I said, this is my favorite movie of the year. Don't look up anything about it, especially the running time, and just please trust me and go on this journey. And so
I've learned not to trust you, but I did go.
And it's a wonderful fucking movie.
I recall enjoying it. I couldn't tell you what it's about. I know there's a Whitney Houston song in it. I know that Tony Erdmann is the dad and that he kind of bothers his daughter.
It's the dad's alter ego.
But I don't recall anything about the movie.
He's grown estranged from his daughter, and he's just retired, and his daughter's working in Romania. It's a German film. And she's completely, like, over him, and so he dresses up as this crazy looking man with this bizarre teeth and wig, saying he's Tony Erdmann and he's a businessman, and plays this bizarre game, and was really kind of sharing his personal depression with his daughter, who has her own personal depression, and them kind of becoming reacquainted with one another in this funny, absurd way.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I definitely recall it being a good watch.
But so my mom and sister had not seen it, so I made them watch it, and they both liked it. But it was weird because I think the way the father and daughter, Sandra Hüller and Peter Simonashek, behave in that, it felt weird watching it with my own mother, who I probably have, kind of a similar distance with my own parents. That would have been worthy of exploring, but anyhow.
Next is a film called Threshold.
Oh my god, I just put that on last night. That was terrible. But Arrow Video, I get all these Blu-rays to review, and this came out several months ago. I never reviewed it. And it has a beautiful looking package from Arrow Video.
Oh, this is the movie that's shot with the iPhone.
It was shot on 2 iPhones over 12 days on a road trip.
Yeah, I didn't know what you were doing because I was editing a YouTube video, but I was sitting in the room, and I think because of the packaging, I thought this would be something interesting.
Same.
And then as it was playing, I'm like, what the fuck is this?
This is
and
so
you're
crunchy.
like, oh, it's shot with like iPhones, and the acting was crunch.
It's directed by Powell Robinson and Patrick R. Young.
My cousin.
The two leads look like Bargain Basement, Boyd Holbrook, and Mary Stuart Masterson.
Oh my
obviously
God.
from different eras. But I read that it was mostly improvised, and God, you can tell this is why writers are important. This is why what does Will Smith say as Richard Williams? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. You need a goddamn script, especially when you have no money and you're shooting on iPhones and you have actors that are, not.
Well, and I would think if you have a limited budget, that also means you have limited time. So wouldn't it be more efficient
Yes.
to have at least a working script? I don't know anything about this movie, so I don't want to shit on it.
It was
but-
terrible. I was even at an hour and 18 minutes. It felt incredibly long, and it does once you know the parameters it was shot under. There is some level of impressiveness, supposedly. I just think that you see Arrow Video whenever they have like a new release of a film, like they have a great catalog of older films, but anything new, I get the sense that they're trying to be ahead of the bandwagon and anticipate what might become a cult status, like they were first on board with it, what might become a cult classic, instead of just recuperating old cult classics.
Sure.
So I get the sense that
Which makes sense.
Sure, but this is
But this was a miss.
it was tiring.
All right, so moving on to projects of interest, you have 5 of them. So
They can be brief.
well, we'll see. So the first one is Silent Night.
Yeah, John Woo is apparently doing a film with Joel Kinnaman.
Is that Brokeback Mountain, man? Who made Brokeback Mountain?
Ang Lee.
Oh, oops.
Girl. Wow. No, John Woo has done many, many films. But the comment I was going to make, it's supposedly going to star Joel Kinnaman with no dialogue. And I find John Woo in English, that's probably perfect. Because his English language movies like Face Off or Mission Impossible 2, the dialogue is terrible. So
I rewatched Face Off within the last year.
I know you did. It's terrible.
I don't recall, but continue, please.
Anyhow, the next thing I had listed was Mindfall, Matthew Kassovitz.
Well, wait, do you know is it a Christmas movie?
No, it's like a thriller. That's all I know. It's just been announced. I don't know.
All right, sorry. Next is Mindfall.
Matthew Kassovitz, actor, director, Hate was his big breakthrough in the mid-'90s with Vincent Cassel. He's got a new thriller he's directing called Mindfall, starring Daisy Ridley.
Next is The Interpreter.
Guy Ritchie. Okay, so
Wait, isn't there a movie with Nicole Kidman?
Nicole Kidman and Shane Pencil. So they need to change this title. Not that movie's considered great, but it was Sidney Pollack's last film.
I think I've seen that Nicole Kidman movie more than once.
Oh, I've seen it once. We own it. But I remember thinking it was kind of dull. But yes, The Interpreter with Jake Gyllenhaal. That's boring to me. But I did really like Guy Ritchie's last film starring Jason Statham, Wrath of God, surprisingly. So I'm sure we will be seeing it.
Next, Empire of Light.
Sam Mendes, who I'm not so on board with, but he has...
Shawn Mendes' brother.
No. This is
Ava Mendes'
James
brother.
Bond director, Revolutionary Road. Anyhow, his new movie is going to star Olivia Colman, which is exciting to me.
Oh, good. Lastly, La Nuit du 12, or du, or...
La Nuit du Douze.
Well, I just posted a meme on my Instagram of bottoms who say they know their bodies, and then 20 minutes into bottoming, and then it's a picture of a clown, and the clown's name is Doo-Doo the Clown. Doo-Doo the Clown.
Yes, no, I get it. Everybody has accidents.
Continue, please. Oh, but how do you say 12 in French?
Douze?
Deuce?
Deuce?
Are you sure about that?
Douze. I mean, I'm sure my pronunciation is off, but that's what
No,
it's
you would know more than I do. So.
fake it till you make it. Dominic Mall, who is a French genre film director I quite like, did a film with Charlotte Rampling and Gainsbourg called Lemming. What?
Doodoo the Clown.
Oh, God. Okay, well, he announced a new project with his usual scribe, Guy Marchand. So exciting to me.
Since it's the end of the month, Nick is going to run down his top 5 theatrical releases for October.
Yes.
In no particular order?
No, they're in order, I guess.
Oh, they are? So then start with number 5.
Mass. It was a Sundance film this year starring directed by Fran Kranz. Great. I know I brought it up before. Martha Plimpton and Ann Dowd give great performances. I wish you had agreed to review it, but you did not. I did quite like it.
Your number 4 pick is
Bergman Island, return to form from Mia Hansen-Love, starring Mia Wasikowska and Vicky Creeps and Tim Roth and Anders Danielson Lee. Saw it at Cannes this year. IFC released it this month.
number 3, The Souvenir Part 2, which you've already spoken
just talked about.
Number 2,
Titane, which won the Palme d'Or at Cannes.
we received a number of comments on YouTube asking us to review Titane.
Yes, I told you that I could get you into a press screening while I was in Venice. You did not follow through, so you have not seen it yet.
No, but I have my own priorities.
But it is excellent.
And I won't be pressured to watch something I have no interest in watching.
I don't know
and
why
then
you
when
would-
I asked what it was about, you wouldn't tell me.
No, I did tell you about it. If you go
I don't
back to
remember.
if you go back to our Cannes rundown, you'll have a very
But can you
succinct-
tell me now what it's about?
You can go back to what we
But I'm
recorded.
not interested.
Okay, well then
But if you want me
I
to
can't
watch
tell you
it,
because you have a laptop in front of you where you could type in Titane and see what it's about.
right? But if you want me to watch it, can you just tell me in like a sentence why you think I would love it?
Because it's like David Cronenberg meets John Carpenter's Christine. It's a fucking fantastic movie.
Number 1, Possession,
Which you watched.
which is not a new movie.
No, but it was restored and re-released this month. Directed by Andrzej Żuławski and starring Isabelle Adjani.
I would recommend Possession. It's interesting.
To say the least.
All right, moving on to the obituary section. Colin Powell passed away this past week.
Was it this week or last week?
I don't remember. Well, I could look it up.
I think we recorded I think we forgot to mention
He passed
it last
away on, oh God, I feel bad that I don't know.
week. Do you?
It was in October. Yeah, when did he pass? Oh, October 18th. So that was the previous week. We just forgot.
Yeah.
Well, he was the 65th Secretary of State. And I did want to mention him because I think he is a good example of when I thought, as a teenager and thinking about Colin Powell, and I remember people talking about he's this black man who's like a Republican and like people didn't seem to like him. And as an adult, I think it's a good example of sometimes we have to do our jobs and our jobs extend beyond like my example is how gays don't like to eat at Chick-fil-A. And I was reading this thing about how it's not a good idea to try to cancel these large corporations because especially when they're franchised, you don't know who owns the franchise. Just because the CEO of some corporation supports some political groups that you don't like, it's but they have thousands of employees who don't support that. And if we cancel all of it, then they would all suffer. And I kind of think that way about Colin Powell. He was just doing his job.
That's right, just like Condoleezza.
Just doing his job. And then the other thing I think about is he chaired this organization called America's Promise, which I believe benefited education with young people. And Janet Jackson was like a figure in that. So I recall her in one of her concerts, which there's a DVD for, Colin Powell's in the audience and she talks about the donations and there are many pictures of her donating money.
I mean, yeah, we shouldn't think Republicans are automatically evil, maybe, but those were. It's just he's not evil. I don't think George Bush Jr. was evil. I think Dick Cheney was evil.
Sure. But, you know, he is a highly decorated service person and I think served honorably in the military and for this country.
Yeah.
And it's sad that he died from complications of COVID-19. But I think he had some sort of like blood cancer or like his immune system was weak.
Wait, how old is he?
Mr. Powell died when he was 84.
I mean, you know.
So he had a good run.
I don't want to live to 84.
I don't want to live to be 64, so
Okay.
good for him. Okay, so we have 24 minutes. This week's selection of like mystery movie was your selection.
Yes.
And you are currently like reworking a script.
Yes.
And there's a film that you sort of were using as like a reference point for a plot point. And the film is Diabolique, which the original film is French.
From 1955.
1955, which you own on Criterion.
Which is directed by Henri-Georges Clouzot, which is a fucking phenomenal film.
But do you think I agreed to watch the 19 whatever Criterion film? No. I watched the 1996
Six.
remake starring Sharon Stone
And Isabella Johnny.
and Paul
Chaz
Chaz Palminteri.
Chaz Palminteri, Kathy Bates, Spalding Gray. Who else is in that? J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams. I only have a few notes, but the basic story of Diabolique, the remake, is there is a like boys boarding school that is owned by a husband and wife. The husband's name is Guy, played by Chaz Palminteri, and the wife, Mia, is played by Isabella Johnny. Mm-hmm. Okay. Guy is like a philandering man and is having an affair with like multiple women, it would seem, including a staff member, a teacher at this boys' school, played by Sharon Stone.
Nicole Horner.
Nicole.
Which was originated by Simone Signoret.
Okay, right away we find out that Nicole and Mia have a plan to kill Guy. Mm-hmm. And they do. Mm-hmm. And then the bulk of the film is Mia being paranoid that she's going to get caught or that Guy's not dead.
They drug him with brown liquor in Nicole's
They
apartment.
drug the brown liquor, yeah.
In Nicole's apartment in Pittsburgh. And there's supposed to be some tension because she's a landlady, one of her neighbors, played by Shirley Knight, almost overhears it. But he's not dead. They drown him in the bathtub. They lug his body in this big wicker basket back to the school, dump his body in the pool at school, and wait for it to surface and be found.
Right. But I'm just trying to get the basic story. So they think they kill him. Mm-hmm. They dispose of the body in this pool, like you mentioned. When the pool is drained, we see there's no body. So then it's really escalated. Like Mia really thinks there's like something happening. But we find out that Nicole and Guy had a plan to fake his death murder. And Mia has a heart condition. Mm-hmm. So I think they were hoping that she would, because the opening of the film was her having like a little heart attack. So they're trying to like scare her ass to death. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't work. Guy ends up coming back and trying to assault Nicole and Mia because he realizes Nicole...
Well, Nicole has a change of heart, and this is where this remake differs, wildly from the original. Is like she has this nonsensical change of heart, and so then he's trying to kill both of them.
And then they kill him, the end.
And Kathy Bates is this detective that has been hired who kind of condones the murder.
Well, yeah. A lot about this story doesn't work for me. Did I find it entertaining? Enough. I would, if it's like a Friday or Saturday night and you just want to stay in and watch some campy shit, I think this would satisfy. But I think it's not great storytelling.
It's not. What I will say is I really enjoyed the score by Randy Edelman. It's a score deserving of a much better written film. I think they also made the mistake of calling it Diabolique and modeling it almost too exclusively after this 50s film because they needed to update it to more 90s.
It feels dated, yeah.
Because even Sharon Stone's stylings.
Yeah, Sharon's outfits are she has a color palette which is like green and red, and it's very like
Well, the hair.
It's like very 1960s.
Yeah.
Including her hair. So yeah, it feels dated and
And then Mia,
oh my
who was
God.
Christina in the original, she's supposed to be the because the original title was Les Diaboliques, the Fiends, where the husband and the mistress are fiends, and their angelic saintly counterpart is this Mia slash Christine character, and it just doesn't make sense. They keep it's a belabored point that she's a nun, she grew up in the convent, and she's they try to keep that saintliness about her, and I think if they had made her more of a modern woman in the 90s, because I don't think Ajani has a lot to do with the role.
Oh, and then she is just like, I think she looks fantastic. I'm not sure what she's done to her face. I think whatever tire sealant Cher put in her face, I think Isabel has done the same. She looks great.
Puffy.
But
yeah.
she looks puffy.
But as compared to, since you just saw Possession this week,
it's like, I mean,
15 years later.
I wouldn't have recognized her if you hadn't told me it was her. But she does look great. And then we see a nude. There's a scene where we see her nude. And like, I mean, she looks fantastic. It's just clearly there's something going on with her face. But yeah, that characterization was annoying because she's just so like meeble. Meek and feeble.
Yes,
is my new word.
She is a meeble, and then it's funny because earlier on she has these, because their plot point is these spectacles that make her look like a Tim Burton character. Even her wardrobe is like she's puritanical almost. And the script for this one was written by Don Roos, who in the 90s wrote a lot of great scripts like Single White Female and Love Field with Michelle Pfeiffer. I don't really love Boys on the Side, but he wrote that. He's become a director of his own. I like Happy Endings and The Opposite of Sex. He's married to Dan Bukatinsky from Scandal.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think there are lots of like queer-ish moments, and they try for this lesbian angle between the women that obviously Clouseau wouldn't have done in the 50s to the same extent. And I think that's where they're trying to get at Nicole Sharon Stone's change of heart, but it doesn't work. This was directed by Jeremiah Chechik, who in the late 80s, early 90s was kind of a budding director in American film. He did National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. He did Benny and June with Johnny Depp and Mary Stuart Masterson, who I can't believe is coming up twice in the conversation for me. That's the one that has the I Will Walk 500 Miles song in the soundtrack.
Okay.
Tall Tale. Those were the films he directed right before doing fucking Diabolique. Like, he just doesn't seem like the right fit. And after this, he did a terribly received film, The Avengers, in 98, which is a rehash of that 1960s film series. And that kind of more or less ended his career as a director. And he's worked almost exclusively in television since then. But I haven't seen this version of Diabolique since my parents got cable, and HBO would have a new movie every Saturday night, and this happened to be one new movie that Saturday night, and I remember my dad liking Sharon Stone in it and hating the movie.
I don't think the movie is garbage. I just think there were choices made that don't work, and overall it results in sort of a hammy...
It does feel hammy.
Slightly camp,
Well, Sharon Stone feels very camp.
And I like Sharon Stone. I think she does... I mean, it's just a weird character and like choices, like these choices, but a few things that really didn't work for me are, the big gag of the story is that Nicole and Guy were in cahoots. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't seem like a surprise because the opening of the film is Mia having like a little heart attack, and when Nicole goes to check on her, there's no sense of urgency and she doesn't seem alarmed. Like, this bitch could live or die, I don't care. So then as these weird things start happening, it's very obvious that, Nicole may have something to do with it. Also, Nicole is having an affair with Guy, and Mia knows about it.
Everybody at the school
Everyone at the school knows about it. And Mia and Nicole seem to have like a friendly relationship, which is interesting, but it also feels suspicious. Like,
what does Nicole have to gain? Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, why would Nicole jeopardize potentially being like associated with like, or charged with murder when really, I mean, the only thing I can think of is that guy made promises to her, like, if we can get Mia out of the picture, I'll own this school, and then you and I can get married.
Right, but
so I mean,
but she doesn't bring that up. Instead, she brings up.
But she doesn't. Yeah, but they don't bring it up.
She brings up this money that she's like, he took this from the school accounts. It's $50K. I found it while I was looking for the body. Let me split it with you. Like, I think that was her move to try to say this is what she would have gained. But it's like $50,000.
And then in the end, when Mia says you need to leave, then the money, she gives the money back to her.
Mm-hmm.
Like we find it in Nicole's purse. Yeah, I just weird choices.
Weird choices. Sharon Stone was nominated for a Razzie. The category was for the new serious Sharon Stone. Because remember, this was in '96, so a year the year previous was nominated for an Oscar in Casino.
It's odd. It's really odd.
It's odd, but it's weird because you can tell there's a lot of smart. It's like the wrong choices were made, but there was a brain behind there. It's like one scene towards the end where it's all becoming aware. Mia's becoming aware of what's going on. She's running through this hallway, and she runs into a room, and a very prominent book cover for Daphne du Maurier's The Scapegoat is apparent there. And it's like these choices, I mean, again, that'd be the set designer, but I don't know.
It deserves a viewing just because I think, well, it's based on source material, so it's not like it's that creative, but...
That's the other thing. It's Pierre Boileau and Thomas Narsajak had written the original Diabolique, which Hitchcock had wanted to remake. Hitchcock wanted to remake that so badly, they wrote a story just for him, which ended up being Vertigo.
Oh.
And Vertigo, I think, is ridiculous. If you rewatch Vertigo and really pull that apart, it's like, wow, this movie doesn't make any sense.
A couple of additional notes I have are... Kathy Bates plays this detective, and she's kind of fun.
She is fun
because she's on top of it. Like, you're not going to pull a fast one on her. But then it seems like they do. Like, well, no, they don't. She's suspicious of them, which she should be because they are responsible for guys' apparent death. But it's made clear that she is a breast cancer survivor, mm-hmm. and she is missing one of her breasts, mm-hmm. and she chooses not to wear like a prosthetic or something. And then, of course, Nicole doesn't like Kathy Bates' character because she doesn't like this detective snooping around. And then Nicole has an outburst where she says, "I'm sick of all that in-your-face survivor crap," implying
she should wear a prosthetic.
Right, implying that she should wear like chicken cutlets in her bra so she doesn't look lopsided. I thought that was out of control. Also, J.J. Abrams, who's a noted homosexual, right?
Is he?
Oh.
I don't know that he's homosexual.
Wait.
He's a nerd.
Who's the one who had all the sex parties?
That's Bryan Singer.
Oh, I confused Bryan Singer with J.J. Abrams.
They look kind of similar with those glasses.
Because that's who I thought it was when I said, oh, that's somebody.
No, J.J. Abrams is the one that's redone Star Wars and Star Trek, the one that William Shatner called a pig.
I thought it was Bryan Singer, and then there's a scene where he calls me and Nicole dykes, and I thought it was funny, like, oh, Bryan Singer called them dykes, but it's not Bryan Singer.
Nope.
Oh, well. I would give Diabolique 2.5 out of 5 stars.
I would give it 2. I think it's a waste of a Johnny, who's great. I think Stone is fun. Kathy Bates, if think back on the original was very influential, and that character in the original was the basis for Columbo.
Oh.
So they don't, Kathy Bates doesn't, it's just happenstance that it's Kathy Bates and she can bring the gravitas that maybe no one else
I enjoyed it enough. It kept my attention enough. It's just, I really thought Isabelle Adjani as Mia was annoying. It's just like...
I don't think it's her fault, though.
Well, but I've only seen her in 2 things, and she's kind of off the wall in both of them.
Well, she's very good at playing a psychotic. Story of Adele H. and Camille Claudel, her Oscar-nominated roles, are fantastic as well.
Well, that's all I have. Do you want to talk about anything else before we say goodbye? I'll be gone all of this week.
Mm-hmm. I'll have to watch that Tom Hanks Finch all by myself.
Lucky you. I'm sure we'll record something for next Sunday because I return Sunday. I don't know what we'll talk about. Well, I'll probably talk about
Well, it'll be your turn to pick out a movie. You could pick it... Well, if you were smart. Well, actually, I don't know.
Well, I am smart. So what are you going to say?
I was going to say, never mind. You could take something to watch on.
I don't think the boat has DVD players.
I watched...
And my laptop doesn't have a CD-ROM.
Oh, see, I brought a laptop. The last one I went on with you, I brought a laptop that played DVDs.
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll see. I mean, unless there's like a movie on the boat, I could watch. Like if there's some bullshit movie.
And then tell me to watch it? Sure.
Well, there are movies, like there's HBO and like...
So yeah, that's how we saw Aladdin last time.
Well, actually, there's a movie I watched... we have 10 minutes. What's the girl from... It, yes.
She did a Nancy Drew movie.
She did a Nancy Drew movie, and I was into that shit.
I don't know why.
I was into it. So I kind of feel like I should actually rewatch that so I know the full story, but I thought it was halfway decent.
Sure. I doubt that 2 years later that was still be on there, but...
No, but I'm just saying. And I also watched on the last cruise because the last cruise I went on was January 2020. Mm-hmm. And I swore I was sick when I got back. Mm-hmm. And then a month later, COVID was a thing. But apparently I've never had COVID, according to the antibody test. And, yeah.
You're a gold star.
I'm a gold star COVID person. But, yeah, and to get on the boat, you have to be vaccinated. And you have to take a PCR or antigen test within 72 hours of embarkation. And... when we get to the port to board the boat, we have to take a rapid test. Mm-hmm. So I feel pretty comfortable with that. Like everyone's vaccinated, double tested for COVID within a 72-hour period. I feel like it should be fine. But yeah, maybe I'll watch, like if there's a movie like that I can watch on the boat, that'll be the secret movie.
There you go.
Although you'd have to have access to it as well. We'll figure it out.
I'm sure if it's on the boat, I have access to it.
But yes, there's that. And then for next week, the Deep House.
Yes.
And then we just recorded a video for King Richard.
That won't come out next week.
Oh, so the only video coming out this week is the Deep House.
And the beta test.
Oh, and the beta test with Jim Cummings, mm-hmm. who wrote, directed, and stars. Right?
And edited.
And edited.
We'll probably do Finch when you get back, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but that won't be released next week.
Yeah, it is. No, the video. No.
Our video will. Correct. So for next week, it'll be the Deep House and the beta test. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, I think that's all I have.
Okay. I have a quote from Megan Thee Stallion.
Oh, you started listening to her music. What prompted that?
I've heard some of her songs before. Well, like besides WAP, like... which is more Cardi than her, but I've heard other stuff.
Well, her big song is that Classy, Bougie, Ratchet.
Yeah, that's the song.
So what's it called? Savage.
Savage. Right. And I found a remix of Savage that I fucking love, that I've had on repeat since yesterday in my own private music video head fantasies. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think I posted something on Instagram and used What's New, which is a song I also like.
I'm not familiar with her music except for Savage and WAP.
Oh, it's fun. She's got a fun catalog. Hood rat shit.
But I am familiar with her from the HBO show Legendary, and she seems very gay, queer, trans friendly.
Yes.
And she graduates college soon, I think. Or
she's young.
Yeah, so she seems smart and sweet and mm-hmm. progressive, and she's sexy.
Very, yeah.
So, I mean, she's a winner, baby.
I agree. But the line that I had written down was, I don't shop on Insta boutiques, all them little ass clothes only fit fake booties.
Oh. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Those little ass clothes only fit fake booties? Mm-hmm. I thought the problem was all you bitches with fake asses can't find clothes that fit.
I don't know, that's the line. But that all the lyrics from that song I really like. It's fun.
Oh, wow.
I can't repeat half of it because she used the N-word a lot in that. But
oh, well. What's her real name?
I actually don't know.
Here. This will be my contribution to the end of this.
I know she's from Houston.
She's from Houston. Her real name is Megan Jovan Ruth Pete.
You know, not Tina Snow.
She's 26. She is from Houston. And then college. Let's see. Personal life. Megan, blah, blah, blah.
Oh my God.
She was studying at Texas Southern University in health administration.
Oh, there you go.
Well, she must not have finished yet because she was a third-year student as of 2019. So I'm assuming if she would have finished.
Do that online now.
Well, her career blew up in COVID, but good for her. All right. Anything else?
Sassy, moody, nasty.
Bye.